All right. I think my problem is just being way too eager to take a trade and taking way too many trades in at the opening bell and trying to make every single trend line break work and getting too eager. And that can be a massive problem for many of us who just feel like we have to take a trade right now, right here. Patience and waiting for a good setup. So I want to show you one of my good setups. And I took so many trades today that I mean it was just a nightmare because I was just wanting everything to take, everything to make it. You know, the news came out, it started dropping, and the day chart here, the day was really a red candle coming down on some news. I don't know why I was so eager to short with everything being bullish on the day chart. Everything's quite bullish. It's even above the 8 EMA. I should be real careful about shorting when things are above the 8 EMA, looking for bounces when everything's above the 8 EMA, especially when all the moving averages are expanding upward. So again, news came out 8:30 and the market was dropping. And so I felt like I had to short, which, you know, wasn't a bad idea when things were going down right here. Look at this. On the 15-minute, 5-minute chart, everything was expanding this way. And even on the hourly chart, before that big kick up right here, before that kick up, everything was under the moving averages. Okay, and it was in this empty space, but still, you see this bullish tendency. So it gets down to this danger zone where you don't know if it's going to keep going down or if this is where it's going to finally, you know, reverse. And that's what it did. It reversed. But as it was down here, like you see right here, as it was in this area, starting right here, I was looking for trend line breaks, you know. So as soon as the bell opened, I don't think it was the 8:30 news or something, but you can see over here making all these mistakes. I want to go over some of this because it's good to really examine where you go wrong. And you could see this is where it just went up. Went up, went up, went up, went up, went up, went up. And that's where I was trying to find a trend line break to the downside, a trend line break to the downside, a trend line break to the downside. And there was some that actually worked. This one was a really good one right here. And it would have worked. This one did not work. This one would have worked right here. So it's just, you know, what's the problem? The problem is just forcing the trade to work. Okay. And when I really had an awesome setup, there was a really, 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 really good setup, you know, right here is one of the best setups I can't even explain to you how good this was. So on this particular chart, let's look at it. Let's look at this trend line break here. Beautiful. And it gave me the pullback. It broke out, pulled back, right? And then as it's starting to go back up over the trend lines, the moving averages, that's the area to do it, all right? And so I just missed it. I had problems with other things and I wasn't paying attention. But now we're in a situation where we have what I would like to call a really good setup, even though it's breaking down past it right now. Price has, before that happened, price had pulled back to these tops right here, you know, and then if it breaks a trend line there, then I would be very interested in taking that. So what happened? Let me just draw the trend line the way I was looking at it right there. And see, price pulled back down into this area and it started to go up. So I would say that's a pretty good setup. But here's the test. Oh, here's where I wanted to look at it, right here, because it had come down and started to bounce back up. But it didn't work. It would have been a failed trade nonetheless, but I like the setup. I like that it pulled back down into the support. I like that the trend line was broken and started to move back up off of that. So even if it didn't work, that's the kind of setup I'm looking for. Now, if it worked, I'd be bragging, oh, see, it was a great setup. Good setups don't always work. So what? So I'm going to be looking for this kind of opportunity right here. Oh, this is the perfect one right here. Let's take a look at it. This is my favorite setup right here because it's so, but waiting for it is the problem. I feel like I have to learn how to wait. So we get a breakout that tests right here, but it keeps going down. So technically, I would move my trend line at that point to the highest peak. So here we are. It's a new peak because it failed. It broke that trend line and come back down, so it created a new peak right here, right? So once it breaks right there, and then this test, these red bars coming down ignored, that's a good buy with the stop loss underneath that pivot down there. So that's what I'm looking for. And even if it comes down into this area, it did not break that. And even if I wanted to wait, sometimes I like to get in when it comes back down to the entry level and get in on one of these peaks down here, literally at the very bottom, if it will. And as it's starting to go back up, turn green, jump in it with a very, very, very small stop loss that way, you know. So am I going to be able to get that opportunity over here? That's a good question. Let's see what we got right here somewhere. I'm looking for an opportunity to take this trend line break right here, but I'm trying to figure if I can do it in this video or not. And you see, I don't like it when it grinds like that. It peaks over a little bit, comes back down under, peaks over, comes back. But meanwhile, it's steadily making lower and lower highs. That's the tough spot. That's the tough spot to be in. But if it's a bullish day, and it looks like it is, then it should eventually break one of these trend lines. And what I'll try to do is wait on this video to see if we get that, so I can include that in this video. So hold on one second. Let's see what happens here. Okay, another strategy that I have is to try to go with 3 to 5 micros and start a position where I believe it's down from the highs enough, which it is. The daily high is the 15-minute chart. And buy all the way down into these pintails right here until I get to my 3 to 5 micros. Okay, and then have in mind a $250 stop loss. That's all I can do. I can't lose more than $250 on the trade. So if it fails, it'll be because it keeps going down. So the idea is to establish a building process until I establish my full position and then have my stop loss in place. And that way, I think Apex would like that. They don't like to see you keep adding, having a drawdown that's more than 3 or 4 times your risk, your reward amount. So what I have to do here is be careful of that. But let's see if that works today. So what I'm going to try. Let's see how it works. And this incorporates a beautiful, the Fibonacci techniques that I like to use. If you're new to my channel, I like all kinds of strategies. That's one of my problems, is that I don't have just one trade set up. I love the trend line and moving average strategies. I love ICT strategies. I like Fibonacci strategies and other strategies. But right now, you can see that it's already, when it spiked up here, it already came down to right in the golden zone, and it went back up. It has not gone up here yet, which is what it's supposed to do if this is a true impulse wave. But that doesn't mean it's not going to come back down here and consolidate first. So I'm hoping that it's going to fulfill the Elliott wave pattern here, where we get one impulse, 50% correction, and the next move is up higher over the top. If that's the case, I want to try to build my position right in this area here. Should have already been doing that over here, but I started right here. So we'll see. Like I said, we'll see how it goes. Okay, here's an example of the trend line break that I like to do. And I wish I could show you closer up without it. You see how it bounced? It came over the trend line, bounced off the trend line, and started turning green. Right there would have been a good almost added right there, but I'm already long. If I'm going to build into a position, I want it to go lower. But if I was not in the position, this would be my first add right there. As it bounces off that trend line, right there, it starts turning green, jump in it right there. Okay, another thing, if it doesn't go right, I like to break even on a trade that I'm just trying to do a one single move. If I'm doing a breakout, full strength, full size, and it starts to go up, my stop loss is in a certain spot. As price goes up, I want to move my stop loss up to break even. And then if it fails, I lose less than 1R. That's just my style. Here we go with an area that I want to add, and I just did. Trend line's coming down. Doesn't mean it's going to work. It might fail. Goes up, bounces off the trend line is what I'm hoping. There's some moving averages coming up in this area. So I think that's a good area to try to add that. So I went ahead and added one right here. That's just one. So now I'm long 2 micros. Now, as long as it doesn't break my maximum loss, this is not a losing trade yet. So you're planning on it. Dollar cost averaging really fails if you don't have a stop loss, you don't have a risk management, you let your drawdown become 3 or 4 times more than your profit target. That's not good. Apex doesn't want that. Who does? So keep that in mind. If this trade breaks, it's going to be because it hit my profit target loss. Okay, so $250 maximum on this trade. If it hits that, I'm out. Okay, the goal is $250 profit. So we're doing a 1-to-1 on this. Okay, up to this point here, we're looking at the 15-minute chart. Our plan is still intact. This area down in here, we want to add up into 5 contracts. We're long 3 now. So, I got one more push down here. If it keeps breaking down and going down, then obviously it's going to break the trade. The trade's going to be no good. Right now on the 10,000 tick chart, we still got basically this area here that looks bullish. All the moving averages are still up. And it came down in here, so I'm long 3 contracts right now. And now we're looking for the push back to the highs of the day. Hopefully it'll work. What's great about this technique is that you can give it plenty of wiggle room. You got plenty of room to be wrong. This trend line break didn't work. No, this trend line break didn't work. No, this trend line break didn't work. And even down here, it came back down and ticked below this. So, having a dollar figure in mind that I can't lose more than this amount, then developing skills of building a position in an area that might chop around but still should be a zone of support, and combining all these components together for a trade that works. And like I said, the goal here is to get $250 because that's what I was risking, and hopefully that's what it'll give us. But this is just an alternative plan to the trendline break. Here's a trendline break that is 100% fantastic. That would have worked though by itself. I could have done a 3 micros right here. Let me show you. Trendline break right here. Perfect trendline break where you get a red bar ignored and it goes right over the top, stops down here. You got your 1-to-1 and hopefully 2-to-1 on that. So you don't have to do the, position scaling. You can just simply add 3 contracts right here. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I'm stopping out down here, and you don't have to build into it. All right. So there's multiple ways of trading, and I like to have different plans in place. But I'm still waiting to see how this is going to work here. Now, in this, I can, once it gets to 100, or if it gets to 100, 150, I can get out of 1 and just hold 2. I can get out of 2 and just hold 1. And just sort of see if it's going to fall back down where I can buy those that I sold cheaper and keep working the higher and lower prices against each other. So all these things work out together, and depending on how you want to take the trade that day. Okay, here are several times that I missed opportunities to sell up here and buy lower, and continuing to sell higher, buy lower, and continue to work those few little contracts that I got at the bottom and make profits on each little move. So, I'm learning as I go here with these trades. In fact, I'll sell one now just to see if it's a smart thing to do. It might keep rotating, See, what I'm hoping for and what's keeping me from doing it is that I just wanted to go straight up here, right, with 3. But, you know, I'm missing these opportunities where I could still have 3 if I had sold higher and bought lower each time it made a move. So, you know, it's just jacking around right now doing this little thing here. So I'm going to sell one.
Order filled.
Okay, I'm going to sell one, and we'll see if I get a chance to. I'm going to put a buy order in down here,
Order submitted.
and we'll see if it comes back down in this area, and I'll pick it back. Okay, I don't know if it's frustration or what, but it spiked up right here, and the way it's chopping around, I just expect it to keep chopping. So I sold another one. I'm only long 1, right? So anything that falls down, I sold one here, I sold one here, and I still got 1. So if it keeps going, I have 1, and if it pulls back, we will, you know, buy it lower. All right, when price came down, I had an alarm set, and I bought right here, but I did not hold it very long. I literally sold it right there. So I picked up the second one and sold it right there. I wish I would have held it, man. So the goal is $250. We got 140 right now because our drawdown would have been 250 maximum stop loss on this trade. So, you know, we got another $110 to go on that. All right, trying to play another ad here. I wish I would have. Timing it perfectly is almost impossible. So getting some of the move is generally what we're trying to do. So I sold the second one here and held the 1. And since I only had 1, I didn't sell it anything when it was really high. As it's coming back down, I want to add back that second one that I sold here down lower. So that's what we did. And hopefully it won't completely crash. Here's what the 15-minute chart looks like. This is the one that I'm kind of guiding my ideas. This area down here is where we want to buy. And so we're still on that same concept. So let's see if we can get that to go back up and back up to the highs where I'll sell that one and hold the last one. Okay, I closed everything on that spike. It went to the top of that channel trend line. I had to just take my profit. I only had 1 micro, so I had to close it. And the goal was 250. And the goal was 250. We got 227. I'm happy with that, with a $250, you know, risk. So it worked today. Okay, and to me, that kind of scaling should be acceptable to Apex. I don't know if it is. I mean, I could make videos. I think what they want to see is that your drawdowns are not more than 3 or 4% of your profit target. And with a proper risk management, I don't think they'll have a problem with this kind of realistic and tactful. It's very tactical trading. All right, we'll see you on the next video. Hope you guys hang in there. God bless you. Peace.